Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you lined up today. Lots to talk about. Let's go ahead and look at the headlines. 282 million XRP have been moved. Mark Cuban is in the crypto news. CNN goes in on NFTs. You know I love NFTs. Goldman Sachs is in the news, of course. And Paraguay following El Salvador. We'll talk about it. R3, Citibank, HSBC, and more are gearing up for trade finance. It's getting real, people. Bank of England makes some incredible comments. And Flare Networks news. Flare Networks has made an impressive big announcement on the Spark Airdrop, and they are one classy crew over there, and we'll get into that. But let's roll this beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. Make sure you follow us there because there's a lot of news that doesn't make the show. So make sure you follow us on YouTube and on Twitter as well. And guess where else? We just recently opened up on Digital Perspectives News on Facebook. Please go like and follow us there if you're on that platform. In just a couple of days, over 1,500 follows so far. That is fantastic news. And there will be exclusive content as well as our whole video library there for all of you to watch and follow. So make sure you follow us on there as well. Getting into the numbers really quickly here. It's 1.6 trillion for the cryptocurrency market cap this morning. And the money is still missing from the market. We're off by a little more than 1%, it says, but the reality is we're off by almost $1 trillion from our peak in the cryptocurrency space, and I can't wait till we're 3, 4, and 5 trillion deep in the market. Looking here right now, I'm going to jump down. Bitcoin is now well below 40,000 at 37.7 plus, and it is, obviously the whole market, honestly, is fighting to get back to a place where it's turned around, and I believe that it will. So XRP right here is 82 cents, and we see that we're off by almost a full percent on the 24-hour and 4.13% on the 7-day. Let's look at the range because that's where we really need to pay attention here. 82 cent on the low end of the range, 84 cent on the high end of the range. Now, as we all know, there is a squeeze coming, and we're looking at this. We've been in the last couple of days here in this make or break moment for XRP. Is it going to break out, or is it going to continue to roll over? Some say with the correlation of the Bitcoin dominance, if Bitcoin doesn't find its way back up to, 40,000 and above, it's going to be hard for the altcoins to move along with it, which is normally the give and take on the cryptocurrency market because it's all speculative at this point until use case utility is driving the asset XRP. This is what the story is. We'll keep watching it as we move into the weekend for sure. I want to remind you, and I told you about this yesterday, for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, Unstoppable Domains allows you to get a .crypto name, but now it can be .coin. It could be your domain name, I should say. It can be .coin, .wallet, .bitcoin, .x. Who doesn't love .x? Yeah. .888. .nft, which is fantastic, .dao, and .blockchain. I think these are all incredible domains. I want to remind you that they're still tied into Opera. They're still tied into Google Chrome, right? Brave browser. There is huge search platforms and engines that they are connected to that really do make this the Internet 3.0, right? So pretty remarkable. Here's the other thing that goes to show you how classy Unstoppable Domains is, and I think I forgot to mention this in the first promo yesterday, is that for you get $3 promo credit for every $1 spent on domain purchases until 8:59 Pacific time, June 22nd. So you got through the weekend here to get this done, ladies and gentlemen. If you want any of these domains, now is your time. Let's get on with the news here. DJ Peter Vass, and there's a link in the description and comment section for all of those things and many more, so make sure you check them out. Hall of Famer DJ Peter Vass says the 282 million XRP were moved and transferred when I went into this, it said Ripple, Fintech Monster, Binance, and a few other major crypto traders have shifted a gaping 282 million XRP, some of it circulated from Ripple and back to its wallets. You know, you can never really get a clear picture of what it all means, but I have to say, at some point, hashtag relist XRP, it feels real to me. Looking here, this is another Hall of Famer, XRP crypto, woof, billionaire Mark Cuban calls for DeFi regulations because he got rugged. Yeah, he had trouble after losing money from Iron Finance's Titan token collapse, and Mark Cuban calling for greater regulation around stable coins and DeFi. And you know what? This is not bad. This is good, right? This is a huge person of influence and of note, and they're ringing the bell. And we need more of this. Now, some people may want to come out and try to say, well, you know, Mark's just capitalizing on the trend of crypto and DeFi and NFTs and all these other things. And be like, well, what smart businessman wouldn't? You know what I mean? So shout out to Mark for that. And I do believe that we do need more regulation. And I do believe, and I've said this many times, that the next IC moment for crypto will be from the DeFi world. You know, I think it would be... anyone who believes that you're just going to have decentralized platforms with no oversight, I believe has got a lot more rethinking to do, because if it's not looking somewhat or at least rhyming with the conventional structure that we see used today, I think you got some more thinking to do, because at the end of the day, I really do believe at the very least you're going to have a regulator node on these decentralized platforms, or at the very least we're going to have to see you register that decentralized platform as a full-on LLC in some particular state, and that way there's accountability for that platform that can be, that can be traced back to people, and that ultimately is where I think we're going to go. Now, this is big for NFTs. CNN will begin selling moments from their news history as NFTs later this month. And look, I'm a big fan of NFTs. None of this is financial advice, but I think NFTs are going to be a really, really big part of moving the internet of value forward by bringing but by bringing the ability for intellectual property rights to be recognized on the internet, which was one of the areas of industry that really took a strong hit when the Internet of Information rolled out, right? So, all right, here we go. This is Goldman Sachs says Bitcoin is not an investable asset class, and Dogecoin is ideal for speculation. Well, when I went into this, they basically say Bitcoin and Dogecoin are ideal for speculation, and they are still warning their clients against investing in crypto assets. But I want to remind you that they've also said that they're building the cryptocurrency desk to offer it to their wealthiest clients. So I would also offer that this may be a talking the book moment right here, ladies and gentlemen. This may be one of those instances where we know that they're building a cryptocurrency desk. We know that they're offering crypto to their wealthiest clients, regardless of the fact that it's not an investable asset class, that it's clearly speculation. I think what it reveals to me that this could potentially be a spot where the Goldman Sachs is still using their influence to talk down the crypto market as it is, while they still gather assets for their wealthiest clients and then let it all go. But I do believe they have it right in the respect that it is a speculative asset, and it does have some. Look, crypto in general needs regulation. So whether it's Bitcoin or XRP, we need some further clarity here for it to become beyond speculation. Isn't that what we're waiting on? So here we see that Paraguay isn't waiting for anything. They are set to unveil a crypto bill on the back of Bitcoin's success story in El Salvador, a government official said this week. I would be careful what we call a success story, ladies and gentlemen. El Salvador announced that they were going to make Bitcoin legal tender, and then they did. And then immediately after, the World Bank said, well, we're not helping you with any of that. So we'll have to see if Paraguay gets the same cold reception that El Salvador has. Citi, HSBC, back Blockchain Trade Finance Network R3 Contours Series A plus round. And when we go into this, just look at these familiar names here. You see today's Blockchain Trade Finance Network Contour announced it has closed its Series A plus funding without disclosing the amount, but it does say after starting the Voltron Letter of Credit Consortium, the company was incorporated in Singapore, backed by 7 global banks. Bangkok Bank, BNP Paribas, CTBC, HSBC, ING, SEB, and Standard Chartered, enterprise blockchain firm R3 Bain & Company, and developer crypto BLK were also involved from the start. All participated in the Series A plus funding with the addition of Citi and SMBC. This is apart from the 9 shareholder banks. A further 10 banks have joined the network, and a total of 13 are live on the platform. Wow. Yeah. Following the transition to a production network in October 2020. So fairly early on, they go into the whole thing. And look, what I wanted to say here is that you see how real this is getting. The very, very real money by very, very real global banks are putting it into this trade finance system for Contour, connected to R3, and so many others. You know where this is going. This is a hot signal right here that although price action isn't really setting the world on fire, this kind of action is for me. Looking right here, Republican Congressional Committee will begin accepting campaign contributions in cryptocurrency. This is another way you know that we're winning. I mean, they're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and take the crypto, right? Let's just take it. Yeah. And look, there's more evidence here that crypto adoption is spreading around the world faster than any of us can actually realize. And it's articles like this that really stood out to me too. UK regulator, the FCA, which is the Financial Conduct Authority, finds 2.3 million adults now hold crypto. How about that one? Yeah. And Bank of England says any UK CBDC will be tens of thousand times more energy efficient than Bitcoin. XRP Crypto Wolf says somebody should tell them XRP is 100,000 times more energy efficient than Bitcoin. Shout out to you, XRP Crypto Wolf. Ripple is arguing that the SEC's internal documents for its employees' trading practices are evidence of lack of clarity on the SEC's part, as well as the case gets uglier and it drags on. I do want to highlight, though, and this was highlighted, I believe, by Jeremy Hogan as well at some point through all of this, that, you know, the 60-day extension, it could be a great way to make sure that the SEC doesn't have the ability to appeal because they didn't get the extension they asked for. So ultimately, in the end, I think this plays to our favor to get this case resolved, and it's just going to take the time it's going to take. It does say here, Ripple is now arguing that the SEC's internal documents for its employees' trading practices are evidence of the lack of clarity on the SEC's part. The United States SEC is already worried about losing street cred, which I think they've already lost. Taking a U-turn will definitely do that. What's more, it also alienates the position of Bitcoin and Ethereum communities against it, further catalyzing us versus them narrative Ripple has been trying to push forward over the past few months. Look, the thing is that, look, I don't know if many people outside of myself and digital asset investor and a few others that really have been talking about the idea that Bitcoin and Ethereum could be securities. They never got an official designation. They got a pass at a podium by William Henman, right? And that has been what has gone on here. So we could talk all day about a security of what, and I've explained it in many, many instances of what it could be. And we'll have to wait and see what Gary Gensler actually does. But I do believe that all of crypto is running the possibility of finding, or at least a majority of crypto could run the possibility of finding itself falling into a digital asset security class. And from there, they could tuck it into the distribution network that already exists for securities platforms. From the dealer broker to market regulation, compliance, and everything would already be built in. I'm not saying every token, but certainly the majority is seen as digital asset securities by the current SEC chair, Gary Gensler. Now, this is massive news that I told you about the Spark airdrop. This is Hugo Filion, who is absolutely amazing. First of all, I want to shout out Hugo. I want to shout out Flare Networks, because this is one incredible team, and I believe what will be one incredible network launch and a hell of a utility fork here from the XRP ledger. Look, the question has been the current situation for the airdrop. What will happen? How's it going to unfold? And we also have here from Benny, who has a great post here, who shared with us how the breakdown goes. And I want to give that to you as well. So let me go right here and just pull this up. I had it actually, it's the original thread here. Here it is right here. So looking at this, Team Flare behind Flare Networks has decided to apply a governance vote to let early Spark token holders decide about the Flare distribution method after the network launch. In this thread, I try to gather available information to answer questions and provide some clarity. Like I said, first of all, I want to say thank you to Hugo. Thank you to Flare Networks team for everything that they're doing to try to bring the power to the people. And look, they're a class act. Hugo, you're amazing. Flare team, you're amazing. You know, Clinton Donnelly, we have to put this really at Clinton Donnelly's doorstep, because this tax attorney had raised some questions here that, you know, look, all of the, and the reality here is what? The reality here is that we're in a new emerging asset class, in a new emerging market. There is a lot of unknowns. You know, and it's not Hugo's job to try to figure out what the taxes are for us as holders. We're speculators. We're pioneers in this market. So they've done the best they can to try to advise us. Clinton Donnelly's done the best he can to try to advise us, because again, even though he's a tax attorney, this is still a lot of unknown of how these things are treated. I don't know of another airdrop that's happened the way the initial offer was put forth. But what I do know is that we've stayed above the noise. We've stayed above the intimidation and bullying tactics that we've had to deal with on Twitter. And we've stayed at an adult level where we can now know that Hugo, Flare, Clinton, they're all hearing one another. And they're really coming out to show that this is for us, and they're going to let us decide. And this is amazing. So let's take a look at what we have a chance to decide here. So, and forgive me, Hugo, I'm just going to go with this thread here from Benny, even though yours is amazing, but I just had this laid out. So I want to go with this right here. But again, shout out to Flare Networks, Hugo and the team. I think you guys are classy. This has never been about you. This has been about taxes and the implication for holders on those tax implications. So appreciate each and every one of you staying above the noise out here. Flare Network has just published a blog post informing the community about the recent changes to Spark token distribution plan. And listen, the power is being put in all of our hands. The governance network or governance vote will be held during the first 5 months after network launch. However, the vote could be over faster than that. If a majority threshold of Spark tokens being used by Flare holders to vote gets behind one of the new given options, then you can see a change and a resolution very quickly. So before we talk about the different options available, let's recap the latest Spark token and distribution metrics. It says here the initial total supply was 100 billion Flare. Initial inflation rate by minting rewards for the network participants 10% per year can be changed by governance vote. It goes through here and starts here. It says initial Flare supply will be distributed over time as follows: 38 billion XRP holders, 25 billion Flare Networks Limited, 20 billion to Flare Foundation, 12 billion general F asset participation reward pool, 5 billion dedicated Litecoin FLTC participation reward pool. It goes on to say the initial plan was to distribute the 15% of the above stated amounts upon network launch. After the plan was distribute the remaining 85% of Spark tokens slowly over time at 3% per month. This applies to all above mentioned receivers of Spark tokens. That was the initial plan. This is what we're talking about now. Now the newly announced governance vote comes into play and will decide whether or not this distribution will change or not. Let's take a look at the different options available to vote. So Default option, no changes. So option 1 is buy through burn, right? Which is very similar to what it was set up. Option 2, distribution halt. What do they mean and what are the differences? And again, shout out to Benny for this layout. It's really done well, and I'm going to go through it right now. As the name suggests, the default option is the distribution plan explained above, with 15% of the tokens being distributed upon the network launch and 3% of the remaining 85 being distributed each following month. You cannot vote on the default option. It will be used if none of the other two options can establish a majority vote before the 5-month voting period ends. So, with that being said, the first new option is similar to the default option, but adds one detail to it, which might have important implications regarding U.S. tax regulation. Now here it says if option 1 wins the governance vote after the 15% token distribution, Flare holders will have to burn a small percentage of their received tokens to be eligible to receive the remaining 85% of tokens over time, again at 3% a month. To be eligible to receive the remaining 85%, right? Flare Network states the Legal Research Commission argues that the remaining distribution would then have been purchased and thus subject to capital gains tax upon sale instead of income tax upon receipt. So there's the defining answer for that particular choice, right? If option 2 wins the governance vote after the initial 15% distribution, then the initial total supply of 100 billion Spark tokens will be reduced to 15 billion. Therefore, no more Spark tokens will be distributed in the following months. This makes option 2 equivalent to receiving 100% of your Spark token distribution share on day 1. As this will reduce the distribution amount of all shareholders. If option 2 wins the vote, this will be the initial and final distribution upon network launch. The breakdown would be 5.7 billion to XRP holders, 3.75 to Flare Networks Limited, 3 billion to Flare Foundation, 1.8 billion to General F Assets Participation Reward Pool, and 0.75 billion dedicated to Litecoin FLTC Participation Reward Pool. As you can see, if option 2 wins the governance vote, every participating entity on the initial distribution will receive less Spark tokens upon launch, as the whole initial total supply is reduced. This means you will receive Spark tokens as you have calculated before, but the value of each Spark token will increase as the total supply is limited by 85%. Some people suggest to simply distribute 100% of the Spark tokens upon the launch, keeping the initial total supply at 100 billion. This does not make sense. If the 100% are distributed on day 1, there would be no need for a governance vote anymore to decide about the distribution plan. So there you have it. Thank you to Benny. Thank you to Flare Networks and Hugo Filion. And thank you to Clinton Donnelly for really coming out here and trying to help people understand that there isn't a clear path understood. There's a lot of different opinions, and believe me, I've talked to people off camera about this who were accountants and they dabble in crypto, and they had different things to say about how to deal with it. I just want to say that the most important thing here that I'm seeing out of this is that Hugo and Flare Networks, they're class act. And none of this was done to complicate things or anything of that nature. I remember Hugo, in fact, telling us that the original initial plan of the drop with the 15% and then 3% hereafter to get the remaining 85 really in part was to keep from having the network spam attacked, right? So I thought that was a really smart play too in the beginning. But I tell you, I like the idea of reducing the total supply and receiving my 15%, which would be my 100%, right on the first day, and off to business we go. And I think it could mean even more value for our tokens in the Flare network. So I don't know where this goes, but that's where my thoughts are on this day. And again, shout out to Hugo, Flare Networks, Clinton Donnelly for really helping bring this conversation to the forefront, and everybody else who kept a calm, level head in this so we could have an adult conversation about it and not deal with a bunch of bully tactics. So that I am very grateful for, and it seems that we're all going to be better for it in the end. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you check out Link2, ladies and gentlemen. They got a global investor conference coming up on June 22nd. It's going to be amazing. I'll tell you what else they got. If you're an accredited investor, they've got Uphold back on the board, and they just added Security Scorecard too, which is a cool company that does a bunch of cybersecurity ratings, and they've got like 1 million companies they do ratings for. Not exactly a corner store. So make sure you check that out, and all the possibilities in the link or in the comment box and the description box. They are trusted, vetted links of products and services that I use each and every day. I'll catch all of you on the next one.